Don't you just love computers? With the plastic and the wiring, and they got lights and stuff. I don't know, I just think they're cute. Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney finally has his first big win after spending 3 years crusading against Apple and Google's app stores instead of making the Epic Games Store not suck so it wouldn't depend on exclusive games. Hey, but to each their own. On Monday, the jury in the Epic v. Google trial unanimously agreed with Epic's argument that Google illegally used monopoly power and anti-competitive business deals to ensure the Play Store remains dominant in the Android app distribution market, thereby crushing Epic's plans to bypass the Play Store tax. Now this may be confusing, given that Epic lost in court, making basically the same argument against Apple, who bears a much stronger resemblance to this guy. But Epic's case against Google was actually made easier, since Google does allow third-party app stores on Android, while doing everything they can behind the scenes to ensure those all fail. Google was also hurt by the fact that its executives wrote things down, allowing incriminating documents to be obtained by Epic's covert task force of elite Fortnite hackers.
This security system is mid, no cap.
Bruh. If you want a full deep dive on this, I did a full deep dive in this tech longer. I think it's pretty good. Now this development could fundamentally change the App Store landscape for both Apple and Google, but of course Google will appeal the ruling, and if it sticks, it'll be years before the changes affect end users. But Tim Sweeney is good at the long game. Fortnite has survived, and as evidenced by a recent launch of games within a game like Lego Fortnite, which is actually Minecraft, it's actually blossoming into a metaverse of its own, one that won't have to hand over a cut of its Android revenue to Google. So what's next? Well, according to Tim, he's taking the fight back to Cupertino so he can lose again. Speaking of antitrust and Apple, early next year, EU regulators are likely to serve Apple with a ban on App Store rules that block music services from steering users away from the App Store and towards other subscription options. It's also theoretically possible that the European Council could fine Apple up to 10% of annual sales as part of the decision, but a fine of that scale would be extremely unusual. After all, the mark of a good threat is that you never have to follow through.
Nice app store you have. Shame would be if something would have happened to it.
EU regulators are also investigating how Apple restricts access to mobile payment features on its devices, prompting Apple to offer opening up its tap and go system to Apple Pay competitors for some reason. Meanwhile, the right to repair movement is gaining traction in North America, and the European Parliament recently voted near unanimously to pass new aggressive right to repair legislation. Apple, by pure coincidence, is expanding its self-repair program to more devices, including the iPhone 15 and newer M2 MacBook models. M2. It's also released a relatively sophisticated web-based diagnostic tool that will give users access to the same testing abilities as Apple-authorized service providers. This diagnostic tool is currently available only in the US, but will be expanding to Europe next year. Or else. The California Department of Motor Vehicles is accusing Tesla of false advertising regarding its so-called full self-driving feature, a feature that does not and cannot fully automate a car, but sure does sound like it can. In response, Tesla's lawyers are arguing that the DMV implicitly condoned its marketing because Tesla started using the term autopilot in 2014 and full self-driving in 2016, and the DMV chose not to take action until 2021. Like, if the cops don't see, it's legal. Tesla also claims that California's false advertising rules for autonomous vehicles inappropriately restrict constitutionally protected speech that is truthful and non-misleading. Now, that might be relevant if it weren't for the fact that unprotected speech that is dishonest and very misleading is exactly what they're currently accused of. Tesla recently escaped a class action lawsuit for alleged false advertisement, but that's largely due to a forced arbitration clause embedded in Tesla's terms and conditions. Today, Tesla also issued a recall of over 2 million cars, which is basically all of them in the US, for a partial defect in Tesla's autopilot controls, which the Highway Traffic Safety Administration found didn't sufficiently ensure that drivers were paying attention and then prevent them from using it under inappropriate conditions. Of course, by recall, regulators just mean an over-the-air patch to the infotainment system, just in case you weren't already worried that automotive safety regulators are dangerously behind the times. Now it's time for Quick Bits, brought to you by MANSCAPED. If you're looking for a way to quickly take care of your bits, MANSCAPED's on the case with their Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. It includes the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra so you can mow the lawn, as well as the Weed Whacker 2.0 for your ears and nose, so it doesn't look like a Kraken is trying to escape from up there. You'll even get their Crop Soother and Crop Preserver, which will keep you smelling fresh down in your nether regions. Because remember, taking care of your hygiene is the manliest thing you can do, depending on your conception of gender. Check out the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra at manscaped.com/techlinked and use the code TECHLINKED for 20% off and free shipping. It was recently discovered that every QuickBit emits low-level radiation. Don't worry, you folks at home are perfectly safe. I, however, have 6 months to live. I've been doing this a while. In response to a concerned post by a Chinese user, AMD has clarified that while yes, overclocking a Ryzen Threadripper 7000 does blow a hidden fuse to indicate that the chip has been used with overclocking, but that doesn't necessarily void its warranty. According to AMD's standard terms of sale, damage that directly results from overclocking may not qualify for repair under warranty, but an overclocked chip is still covered by warranty for replacement or repair for other issues. Nothing has changed, so overclockers can relax and keep overing those clocks.
Cow tipping, I think.
All right, let's just up the voltage a bit. Huh? That was dumb. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission has hit Google subsidiary Fitbit with a 7.3 million USD fine for making misleading claims to at least 58 customers about its warranties.
I'd say it was warranted.
While the fine is only 3.8% of Fitbit's $190 million net income last year, it's also over $120,000 per customer lied to. Fitbit representatives reportedly told several customers they only had 45 days to return a faulty device. They told another that they couldn't receive a refund because the device wasn't purchased directly from the Fitbit website. According to Australian law, goods sold in the country must hit a certain threshold of quality and fit to purpose, or the customer must be offered a repair, replacement, or refund. Either you comply, or they drag you out into the desert and leave you to the kangaroos. They look cute, they're not. The FTC has released a warning advising citizens to be cautious when scanning QR codes, given their increased use in scams and distribution of malware. Pictures of QR codes embedded in phishing emails can easily bypass normal security checks, where a direct link to a malicious site would be quickly detected. You're also likely to find QR codes on restaurant tables, shop windows, posters, and parking lot kiosks, which just makes it easy for a scam artist to just paste their own code over the authentic one. Also, why do we call them scam artists? This is like sandwich artist all over again.
It's just mustard. You're not Picasso.
Valve has asked Steam Deck owners to please stop inhaling the device's exhaust fumes. A writer for Kotaku has elected to ignore the health and safety advice because they can't stop, quote, smelling the hot, plasticky, almost fruity scent. Apparently, a non-zero amount of people on Reddit feel strongly about the scent, with one commenter lamenting the day their deck stopped smelling. Or maybe his olfactory nerve finally died of deck poisoning.
I'm so happy I got to write that.
Why do we love what's bad for us? And an AI companion robot has been dividing New York's elderly community. What show is this? Is this local news? All right, here we go. LEQ has been given out to hundreds of lonely seniors as part of an initiative by the New York State government's Office for the Aging. While many seniors seem to enjoy the company, others likened the robot's reminders and prompts to nagging, and even called the device's tone rude. Man, if one of them says kids these days, I'll finally win elderly catchphrase bingo.
Finally, we strike back against Big Grandma.
And you'll win more tech news if you come back on Friday for another episode of Tech Linked. Don't forget, this is me reminding you, better see you there. Okay.